Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGenEd. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts. And so in this video, I'm going to be diving into the QuantumScape ticker symbol QS chart because it is, ripping faces off in the overnight trading as well as the after hours. And yeah, I have a small position in QuantumScape. And so I've kind of been thinking about levels I want to trim and or exit at and just kind of break down my thought process. That's what I'm going to be doing in this video for myself, for my own interest. Maybe it's helpful for you guys. Maybe I'm completely wrong about what I'm talking about. Maybe I'm too risk off, wanting to take profits. But I do think that there is a strong possibility that after going up like 37% in the overnight so far, if they're opening up that high, maybe they're going to want to raise capital or something like that. I have no idea. I'm really not, no idea. So, yeah, I'm just going to be going over this. I wasn't planning on making a video tonight. I've just kind of needed a break, in all honesty, working a lot outside and just super tired. So if you're in QuantumScape, maybe this is helpful for you. If you're considering getting into it, maybe it's helpful for you. And if you're not, maybe it's just nice to witness somebody's thought process. And so that's really, just what I'm going to be doing here. And so, just getting into the video, QuantumScape closed today on June 24th at a price of $4.33, up about 2% on the day. But in the after hours over here where the cursor is, you can see that, closed the after hour session up over 30%, which is up over $1.39, closing the after hours session at 572, but then continuing in the overnight, currently trading right around $6 a share. It's actually been over $6. And so if I do flip over to the 10-minute time frame, we can actually see that it hit a high of $6.50 right around, I believe that would be 9:20. That should be East Coast time. And yeah, it looks like about 30-40 minutes later, it's pulled back a little bit to a little below $6. I do think that it could be finding some support, maybe around here, around 560, maybe 569. The line that I've drawn here is 563. And that is really just based on the closing of this candle right here, where it did close at 563, and that was around 5 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, the next candle opened around there, then pulled back, and then the candle after that wicked up to that level but got rejected. So I feel like that could be an important level, maybe one that it pulls back to find support there if it does pull back. Also, there was a little bit of consolidation over here. So yeah, I mean, if there is a pullback to 563 or so, maybe that could be acting as support. But, it's just up so massively. Like, so from the close here, if it were to pull back to that line, that would still be up around 30% following the close. So that would be a gap up by 30%. So it's still pretty massive. And there still is, I would say, a lot of risk that this could be pulling back down, maybe getting back into the fours. I have this blue line here at 483. And so, yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit about, or I'm going to talk a lot about some of the levels on the daily. I'll go over some of the news here, and also do want to go over some options, and also wanted to talk about my position, which is probably laughably small, but still, it's one that I established a little while ago, and I've kind of lost conviction in it, and I just want to, take some profits and walk away. But yeah, it looks like the news that was over here, it looks like this is listed on the Dow Jones at 5:53 p.m. Eastern. QuantumScape shares climb on breakthrough in battery production. So this is pretty cool, and it looks like that article, let's see, QuantumScape shares climb on breakthrough in battery production. So that looks like it's this article, which is apparently trending. And so I'm just going to read this, for my own education, also for you guys. I don't think I can highlight the text here, so sorry you won't be able to follow along in that sense, but I'll try to point to what I'm reading. And maybe I'm just going to try. Okay, I tried to zoom in, but I can't do that apparently. And let's see. So this is, the article here, can't highlight it like I said. So shares of QuantumScape soared after the company said it made a big leap forward in its process for making solid state batteries. If you're not aware, QuantumScape is a solid state battery company. And also, I think that this is kind of an interesting aspect of maybe AI that we need to, just have better energy infrastructure. We need to have more energy for the energy consumption of AI. And part of that puzzle is going to be energy storage, efficiency, whatnot. And so solid state batteries could be an important component of that. It's an innovative technology, and so I think that could definitely be an aspect. But then, continuing on down here, the stock was up 21% at $5.23 in the after hours, and the stock closed the down 17% year to date through Tuesday. Looks like so far in this year, not looking so great. Not too surprised by that. But in the overnight, it's right around $6. So, 37% up versus the 21% that they have here. And so the battery startup said after the bell that it has successfully integrated its advanced Cobra separator process into baseline cell production. So I don't really know what that means, but it sounds like they're, innovating in a lot of different ways, and they're having successes with those innovations. So I think that's great. And also, I think that one of the really key things, just maybe drawing a parallel between QuantumScape and a company like Tesla, is that Tesla was able to succeed because they basically redefined manufacturing in the US. And, we're seeing that there's a big push now for more manufacturing, to be bringing manufacturing back to the US. And so I think that Tesla has really been able to excel because they have had, this kind of framework for doing that. And so it looks like QuantumScape is having some breakthroughs in their production line. So I think that is, going to have a very positive impact on not only the company, but also I would imagine the industry, production, manufacturing in the US as well. And so the process is designed to enable faster and more energy efficient battery production with a smaller equipment footprint. So just making it more efficient, very good. And many aspects of that, smaller equipment footprint and more energy efficient. So two things that improve efficiency there. And so compared with its previous Raptor process, Cobra has a heat treatment speed that is 20 times faster while occupying a fraction of the physical space that Raptor required. So this is really like a compounding innovation, I would say, because it's not only that less energy needs to go into the production, which is going to make it more efficient, but less space is required for it. So let's say you have a warehouse, whatever size it is, and you're able to have 10 of these, let's say, Raptor systems, but then with Cobra, maybe you can have 40 of them because it's 25 times faster, but I'm not sure of the physical space decrease. But just as far as energy consumption goes, energy efficiency, that would be turning that 10 whatever unit that would be into a 40. And then as far as space goes, maybe that would turn the 10 into, maybe you could have double the number of Cobras versus Raptor. And so maybe you'd be turning, a production process that's ranked at a 10, and you could turn that into like a 60 or something. So this just seems like really, really great news. And by the way, if you can't tell, I have no idea what I'm talking about. Just trying to bring some analogies, to maybe help that understanding that process. But yeah, this seems really good. So I think that seems really good. QuantumScape stock is surging after the bell. What's fueling the move? And this is probably just going to be the same type of stuff. So I'm not going to get into it. any deeper, they've had manufacturing efficiency breakthrough, and I think that's going to be really, really good for the company. So I think that's great. And also just want to note the market cap is 2.42 billion. Maybe I'll turn to Grok for a question. Let's see, coming over here to X, and so QuantumScape has a market cap of 2. I'll do it with a dollar sign. 2.42 billion. Would you say that is large or small for such a company? And would you expect a 30% gap up in stock price to be utilized to raise capital? So, let's see what Grok has to say. I don't think I need to do a deep search or think. But so, yeah, let's just see what Grok has to say. And so QuantumScape's $4.2 billion market cap, large or small. And so QuantumScape Corporation, which is ticker symbol QS, as we all know. Maybe I'll make this a little bit bigger so we can... There we go. Yeah. So this text, maybe that's a little bit bigger, easier for you guys to read. I think Grok is maybe... Yep, he's done thinking now. Okay. I should say it. I asked Grok if he's a he, she, or it, and Grok actually prefers it. Doesn't necessarily prefer, but it is... it makes most sense to it. Okay, so anyways, with a market capitalization of $2.42 billion as of June 2025, it is classified as a small cap company. Here's why. So market cap classification. And so according to standard financial definitions, small cap companies typically have a market capitalization between 3 million and 2 billion, while mid cap companies range from 2 billion to 10 billion. So QuantumScape's 2.42 billion market cap places it at the lower end of the mid-cap range, but it is often considered a small cap stock due to its proximity to $2 billion threshold and its characteristics as a pre-revenue, high-growth technology company. All right, and so the company context, let's add some of that. So QuantumScape is a developer of solid-state lithium metal batteries for electric vehicles, and that is a sector with significant growth potential but high risk due to its pre-commercialization stage. And so the company has no revenue yet and is not expected to generate significant sales until at least 2026. So that makes me think that, the big pop that we're seeing in the stock price, maybe it's good to take some risk off the table. Okay, so that's kind of what the takeaway from that right there is. But then compared to established EV or battery companies like Tesla, which has a market cap of approximately $1 trillion, or large cap automotive suppliers, QuantumScape's 2.42 billion market cap is relatively small. However, it is substantial for a pre-revenue company, reflecting investor optimism about its potential to disrupt the battery industry. And so with the innovation that we're finding out about today, it seems like that is exactly what is happening, that there is disruption. So that's pretty cool. And then let's see, risk and volatility. So small cap companies like QuantumScape are generally more volatile and riskier than large cap firms. So again, another aspect of good to take at least some risk off the table on this big move. Not financial advice. I'm really just talking to myself. So you take that as you will. But then continuing on, QuantumScape often has limited access to capital. This is a concern. Higher sensitivity to market fluctuations and less analyst coverage, which aligns with QuantumScape's profile. Its stock has a high beta of 4.38, indicating significant price volatility compared to the broader market. And so, in summary, QuantumScape's $2.42 billion market cap is small to borderline mid cap for a company in the EV battery sector, particularly given its pre revenue status and speculative nature. And so this follows up with my question, would a 30% gap up in stock price be utilized to raise capital? Based on what I had just read to you guys, I think that we know the answer to that. But let's read what Grok has to say. And so a 30% gap up in QuantumScape's stock price could present an opportunity for the company to raise capital. But whether it would do so depends on several factors. And so here is the breakdown of the analysis. And so what a 30% gap up means is that a 30% gap up refers to a sudden increase in stock price, typically overnight or before trading begins. So that would be in the after hours and overnight trading session that we're currently experiencing. And that would often be driven by positive news, such as a breakthrough in battery technology and or, the manufacturing process of that battery technology, or potentially, a new partnership or strong market sentiment. And so for QuantumScape, whose stock price was recently reported at $4.33, on June 25th, apparently. I think Grok is working in, Greenwich Mean Time, I would imagine, or maybe some other part of the world, because I am recording this on June 24th. And so a 30% gap up would increase the price to approximately $5.63, boosting its market cap to around $3.15 billion. And that is assuming that, 558.93 million shares are still outstanding. And currently, like 568, just this price, that's the 30% move. If we look at the chart, it's at 594 currently as I am recording this. Do have this alert here? That's actually, spoiler alert, that's my 20% profit level, 594. I have an alert there to potentially place a sell order. But I have not done that yet. So, I'm going to wake up in the morning, see what's going on in the pre-market. I might take some profit, but I do also have some calls, or a call contract. I got 5 of them. And, I think kind of a general rule as far as contracts go, is that, if one is holding a call contract, if one is bullish on a stock, one should sell the contract before selling shares, because if you're selling shares, that means that you don't think the price is going to go up. And if the price is not going to go up, that means the premium in that call option is not going to go up. And you also have theta decay. As time moves on, there's going to be a decrease in the amount that contract is worth. And, it's just more risk. And that contract could go to zero. Whereas shares, they could go to zero, but they're less likely to. There's not like a ticking clock like there is with a contract. So I kind of think that I want to wait until open, maybe to sell my calls and then maybe sell shares. But yeah, I don't know. I'll get into that towards the end of the video. I really just want to go through Grok's analysis here. And so continuing on, so the likelihood of raising capital. And so here there is some historic precedent maybe that QuantumScape has previously raised capital through stock sales, which has led to share dilution and contributed to its stock price volatility. And so, for instance, a past capital raise was associated with a stock price decline, as noted in October 2024, when the stock fell nearly 25% after announcing a stock sale. And so let's actually look that up in the chart. So October 2024, so last October. So let's just switch over to the daily here. And that's going to be going back, let's see, over here. This is January. Over here, this is October. And so, yeah, if we go back, this is September where the cursor is. So a 25% decline in October, I would imagine that would be, like from the high here, which was October 24th, and then coming down to October, let's see, 31st, and let's just go to the close. That's from the high to almost the low. Let's see, now to the low. From the high to the low in October, or at least moving forward from that high, which was at $7.03. The stock price came down about 27%, so that is in line approximately with the fell nearly 25%, because, I would say, maybe you'd want to do this from the close here, and then you could do it from the close here. So from the close on that green one after the gap up, earnings, maybe they're good, maybe they're bad. I don't really know, but whatever happened, we saw a gap up. If I just remove the drawings for a second, you can see that gap very clearly, but then put this big wick up, hitting a high on the day, like I said, of 703, then closing at 650, and then really starting to tumble. And then, from that close, the top of that candle, that green candle, and then coming to the bottom of this red candle. So from close to close, that came down 20.77%, or 20 to 27%, based on the high to the low here is what you could say, I would say. But Grok is saying almost 25%, nearly 25%. And so anyways, and actually 30% gap up. I'm just going to delete this, and let's get a measurement of the gap up that we saw here. So the close on October 23rd was, and actually don't even need to do a measurement. The close on the 23rd was at 518, and then the close the following day was, up 25% to that close of 650. But then let's see, to the open though, the gap up to the open, that was an 18% gap up. So right now, currently in the overnight, it looks like it's above $6 now. Right now, we're looking at a more than 30, almost 40% move to the upside. So like double this. And, following that, I guess maybe I need to open up another Grok tab, because I don't want to lose that. And actually, I'm just going to copy. Oops. Let's see. Oh man, did I copy that? I'm an idiot. Okay, so I think that's right. I'm just gonna open up a new tab. Sorry, I'm not really used to doing videos like this, but this is valuable for me, so maybe it's valuable for you guys. So yep, this is the same one, and so I'm just going to. What was I gonna ask? Maybe this is actually in the conversation, so maybe I should just not get ahead of myself. But no. Maybe, yeah, I do want to get ahead of myself. And so a past capital raise was associated with the stock decline noted in October 2024. So what date did QuantumScape announce the raising of capital in October 2024? I could maybe go to their website or something, but I would think so. QuantumScape announced its Q3 business and financial results on October 23rd, and this included a shareholder letter detailing financials such as GAAP, blah, 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 I don't care. Stock price reaction. Answer: no specific date in October was found for the QuantumScape capital raise announcement based on available information. The closest related events were in Q3. Okay, so, whatever. Maybe I could look it up online, but, I get the picture. Okay, so, and then a 30% gap up could provide an attractive opportunity to raise new shares at a higher price, minimizing dilution compared to selling at lower prices. And so the financial position, and so QuantumScape ended 2024 with $910 million in cash and no long-term debt. So that's great. That's nearly $1 billion in cash. And so with management stating that this cash runway extend to the second half of 2028. Unbelievable. While this suggests the company is well funded for now, a significant stock price increase could prompt opportunistic capital raising to extend the runway for further the runway further, fund research and development, or scale production as it approaches commercialization in 2026. And so, yeah, 2026 coming up, it's 6 months from now. So I could definitely see this, like a very good, like financially responsible thing to do would be, oh, we're gapping up 40%. Let's raise some capital. Maybe they let it run for a few days. I don't know. I have no idea. But I would think that this is a potentially good time just to, it's a ticking clock. 2028. It might seem like many years from now, but it's tomorrow. Time moves fast. So, it's like you think of it in days, that's a long time from now. But if you're thinking of it in quarters, it's not that far. If you think of it in years, it's not that far. And like a business is going to scale up slowly and then all at once. And so they're in still that scale up slowly phase, I would think. And so market conditions and investor sentiment. And so a 30% gap up would likely reflect strong investor confidence, possibly due to a technological milestone or a new partnership. We've already gone over this. And then so in such a scenario, the company might capitalize on the momentum to issue new shares as small cap companies often use favorable market conditions to secure funding. So it totally makes sense. However, this would depend on whether the company perceives a need for additional capital beyond its current reserves. Always good to have cash. Cash is king. And also with uncertain times with what's going on in the world, might as well. And also if I don't really know all the details of like the cutting of government subsidies to EV companies, but QuantumScape is based in the US as far as I understand. They're manufacturing batteries in the US. So I would think that would be, a good thing that would benefit from what's going on currently. But anyways, potential downsides are that raising capital through a stock offering after a gap up could temper the price increase as new share issuance dilutes existing shareholders. And so QuantumScape has been criticized for past dilution. If it happens once, it'll happen again. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So, gotta learn from our past prior mistakes. It's quite possible dilution could be happening again. And so, which has diminished stock upside as revenue and profits are spread across more shares. That makes sense. You can, look up dilution if you don't really understand that, but it's basically like if there's a 1-for-10 reverse split, that means that your, 10 shares are now equivalent to 1 share, but at 10 times the share price. Actually, no, that would be a reverse split. I'm sorry. Dilution would just be, adding more shares so you own less percent of the company. Sorry about that. Getting ahead of myself with some trauma from AMC, in all honesty. But yeah, anyways, continuing on with the expectations. I don't know if I didn't highlight this. So investors might react negatively if they perceive the capital raise as opportunistic rather than necessary. I feel like it's opportunistic. And I would think that as like a CFO or something, which I'm not, I would think it's a good idea to do that. Just, make sure, have that cash on the side. And then, so expectations. And then given QuantumScape's pre-revenue status and the capital-intensive nature of battery development, a 30% gap up would likely be viewed as an opportunity to raise capital, especially if the company believes it can secure favorable terms. However, with a $910 million in cash, QuantumScape may not be under immediate pressure, but eventually they will be. And if they're not prepared when it does hit the fan, it'll be good to have that cash. So if they're not under immediate pressure to do so, QuantumScape may not be under immediate pressure to do so unless the funds are needed for a specific strategic move. For example, accelerating production or expanding partnerships. And so for accelerating production, it sounds like they've just had a breakthrough. Maybe it would take some capital to better implement that breakthrough. And so that's like, if you got a warehouse with all of these Raptor things, but you want to swap them out for these Cobra things, then, you would have 10 Raptors, but then you could have 40, let's say, Cobras. You would need money to make that switch over. So I think that that could be a really great thing for the company to raise some capital right now, to have some more cash on the side to invest in the breakthroughs that they're having to keep that momentum going. But then, so anyways, Grok concludes that the market cap, QuantumScape's $2.42 billion market cap, is small to borderline mid cap, or really, I mean, with the gap up, I would say it's mid cap to borderline small at this point. But, with the trend that it has been right around 2, it's fair. And so fitting its profile as a pre-revenue, high-risk, high-reward company in the EV battery space. And so a 30% gap up and capital raising. And so a 30% gap up in stock price would likely be an attractive opportunity for QuantumScape to raise capital, particularly given its history of stock offerings and the capable capital-intensive nature of its business. However, with a strong cash position, the decision would depend on strategic needs and market conditions. Investors should be cautious of potential dilution if new shares are issued. And so I'm going to have a follow-up question for Grok. And so I'm just going to say, considering the above, if QuantumScape were to gap up by 30% tomorrow, what are the odds that they would raise capital in your opinion? Please respond with a percentage likelihood of raising capital. Just kind of curious. Okay, so given these factors, I'm not going to read them all because I'm spending too much time reading them. But so given these factors, Grok estimates a 60% likelihood that QuantumScape would raise capital following a 30% gap up. This reflects the balance between their opportunistic fundraising history and the favorable conditions a gap up would create, tempered by their sufficient cash reserves and potential investor concerns about dilution. So I'm going to give Grok a thumbs up because he's been an all-star. It has been an all-star here. And 60% likelihood of capital raise. So with that being said, and having seen this over here, and then that pullback to a lower low, let's look at, where it's currently at, right around 6. If we look in this is place a large buy at 350. I have that note for myself. It didn't go down that low. Basically I saw like the lows over here. Let's see, what was the low on this day? So the low on April 10th of 2025 was 359. So I was thinking if it breaks below that, maybe it's just sweeping the lows, load the boat. I'll get into my position in a minute. But yeah, I'm just going to pull up the 10-minute chart here. Doing that, nothing too crazy. Around 6:01 currently in the overnight. But yeah, looking at this, so the position that I have and what I'm thinking about doing. So my average is right around $5. It's just shy of $5. And so a 20% gain for me would be at $5.94, which it's currently above. I don't have a limit order placed to sell my shares there, but I am considering it because I'd be happy with a 20% gain. And then to walk away to see what happens with dilution or raising capital, whatever. And, maybe I want to get back into it. Maybe I just want to walk away and get into another position. And so I'm just going to pull it up on my phone just so I'm not like making stuff up. You guys won't be able to see it, but I'm just curious, when did I start building the position that I have? And so for me, I don't typically have very large positions, and I tend to dollar cost average into positions. And so currently I have 36 shares of QuantumScape, and my average, if you're curious, is at $4.95.3. I'm just reading this from Webull on my phone because I don't keep the positions open on my computer. I just do it on my phone, which I'm looking at over here. And so, yeah, that's what my position is. When did I start building that position? By one share at a time, effectively, in all honesty. So this goes back to, I'm not exactly sure, but possibly a year ago. I might actually kind of like hide my screen for a second. You guys should still be able to see Webull, but I'm just going to pull up a spreadsheet that I keep track of my trades on. You guys can't see it, so that's cool. You can see my cursor because I'm looking at the spreadsheet. I'm just not sharing it with you guys. And so my QuantumScape position, okay, I was going back kind of far in time, but I guess I'd been swinging some shares. But so my position, I started building with a purchase of 2 shares on January 6th of 2025. Now I have 36 shares. My average is $4.95. My initial buy for those 2 shares was at $6. And, now we're basically at break even relative to that prior, that initial buy. Oops, let's see, sorry. Yeah. So that's my position, and yeah, so 594 or right around 6 is a 20% profit for me, and so every 50 cents is about another 10% profit. And so, I'm happy to walk away with 20% profit on this, but I also am curious to think about the options contract that I have, which I will pull up. But I also did want to note this level here, $3.88. I have an alert there for when it goes below. That did not get hit. I did want to place a buy order there at 388. Really just kind of corresponding with like the consolidation lows here. And the way that, I'm not sure if that's a phrase, but the way that I'm thinking about it is, where the cursor is, you see that line that goes across. You saw some wicks go below it, but you actually had some candles, the bases of some candles, some wicks touching it. That line going across, and we had a wick tested over here. And so the low here on June 2nd was at 388. And so that's why I had, a limit order buy there. I probably placed it after this level was hit, and I'm going to be getting left behind apparently. I wanted to buy another 4 shares, and I wanted to progressively accumulate up to 100 shares so I could sell covered calls. Unfortunately, I didn't even get up to 40 shares with a 4-share buy at 388. So that sucks, but I still at least have 36 shares. I can make a little bit of money on this, and I can go over my thesis, kind of break it down for you guys. But yeah, I'm probably just going to wait to see where things open up at. And unfortunately, I am going to be at work when the market opens, but I tend to take a coffee break, right around the time the market opens so I can be locked in around that time. So I think that's good. And let's see. I'm just going to, I'm going to pull up the watch lists. These are some of the stocks that I hold and or watch closely, and I'm just going to move that over so it's lined up with my little box over here. These are recently viewed, so these aren't even mine. But I'm just going to pull up contracts. I think for the most part I do hold these contracts. None of it's financial advice. Might lose money on all of them. But the contract for QuantumScape that I have is. And actually, I'm going to actually pull up QuantumScape over here so I can more easily just flip between them. And so for this contract, it closed today at 17-cent premium. And my average for this one is, I believe, 31 cents. And I have 5 of them. So yeah, my average is 31 cents, which is, let's see, we got close to it up here. On May 16th, we got close, hit a high of 28 cents. My average is 31 cents. And so I will just put a line. Maybe I'll just do an alert. Create an alert above. Do I want to do the bid or the... The bid is like, so if I'm selling, I'm asking. So I guess I'd want to, but I want it to get filled. So I want if I'm selling, somebody may raise I get confused with this stuff. I don't know why. I just wish it was like buying and selling price. So asking is going to be the selling price that would be getting filled. So I'll just leave it at ask. I think that's fine. And that's, cursor's right there, where that alert is at 31 cents. Wait a second. 31 cents. I'm an idiot. I put 21 cents. Good to check lines, make sure they make sense. That did not make sense. So that is above where we're currently at. So I want to at least be trimming out of my position around there. And so let's just see, that does correspond with, the consolidation over here. So maybe that'd be acting as some resistance. I'm not really sure. But I feel like this could really take off, maybe getting up to the lows around here, which is around 64. And so that would be a 2x for me going from 31-cent average to 62-cent average. So that seems pretty reasonable to me. So right around 64. Let's see. I do have on this, I have for my five contracts, I have a limit sell for 3 at 62, in all honesty, just because that's a 2x coming into resistance here. And then I'd because it's like, I buy 5 and then I sell 3 for 2x. That means I've already made money. I'm not risking any more money. And then I can just hold the remaining 2 contracts and see where it takes us. Maybe it doesn't even get up to 60. Maybe it barely even gets up to 30 tomorrow. I have no idea. But I'm thinking that there might be a pretty quick reaction in, when the market opens. These contracts shoot up because of that volatility. And, so the other 2, I have a limit sell at 93 cents. Why would I pick 93 cents? Really just because it's below $1. The cursor is right around $1, also corresponding with the high here. But just thinking that, 93 cents, that's a 3x for me. And so that would just be nice to kind of, practice, taking money off the table, risk off the table, but not at just a 2x. And I think that it could really be, launching pretty high. And then so I did want to do some comparisons historically. So for this contract, it expires in January. It's the $10 strike. And I just wanted to compare with the history of the chart over here. So we can see these big moves up. This was January 6th and 7th when it hit the top over here. And we can see in the call contracts, that's where we saw a high of $1.90. And then it pulled back, closing on the 7th for this contract at $1.50. So that's, a lot higher than where it is currently. That's about a 10x from where it closed at today. Do I think a 10x is feasible considering, what's happened over here? I'm not really sure. That did correspond with the stock price being up around, a high of 687. So that's pretty feasible considering that price in the overnight's at 608 currently. But we also have had, months between January and now, about 5 months. And that means there was going to be some theta decay for the premium on those contracts. So I don't necessarily think they could be getting back up to, this contract would be getting back up to 190. But with this kind of momentum, it does seem feasible that the stock price could be hitting $10 before January of 2026. So I find that to be really interesting, but I think that 190, that's getting ahead of myself. I think right around $1 is me being greedy, but that's having taken profits at 2x at 62 cents. But if that's not hit, at open 62 cents, then it's like, okay, then maybe I just want to settle for 20% profit or something like that. I'd be cool with that because I've been stacking this for, about 6 months. And, now I'm going to take some profit and walk away, focus on other stuff. But yeah, like moving up here in this premium. So we saw here, On December 26th, so let's look at, that's where we see this big green candle here, up 43% for this call contract. So it's December 26th. What do we see in the price over here? The stock price went up 14%. And so, but now we're looking at like 40% at 607 in the overnight. So I think that, if we saw 14% here, let's say we get 3 times that, so approximately 45%. Oh, let's just be conservative, 2 times that, 14%. With this call contract, that went up 40%, so maybe 80%. And so from 17, let's pull up the handy dandy calculator. So 17, this is going to be times 1.8 is, wait a second, is that right? I might be stupid. That went up 80%. So 17, yeah, that would be, because like 100% would be to like 34. So yeah, I mean, so we're looking at things pretty different. So I don't want to get too greedy expecting it to go up to 190. I don't want to be too greedy expecting it to go up to $1.93. And so that's why I think 62 cents, see it open when I'm on break. If that gets filled, great. Maybe let it run. If not, maybe just take profits and, be happy with that. I have no idea what I'm going to do when the market opens. I'm going to see what's going on because maybe there's some news in the pre-market and they're going to be diluting or something. But yeah, I mean, I guess, I'm going to delete some of these levels that I have here. This gap was filled. This green line was a great level to buy at, 348. And so that would have been in April. Let's actually see. I'm going to check my phone just out of curiosity. Did I buy, around April 7th? And so just looking at these shares, so I was buying, the last time I bought a share was May 19th, and that was at a price of $3.95. And then prior to this, the lowest I bought was, wow, yeah, $3.95 was the lowest that I bought. I bought some around here, but March 30th, I bought one share at $4.20. May 19th, it looks like I bought 3 shares, and that was it. Yeah, so I could have bought some there. I had a green line, but I didn't do it. So anyways, place a large buy order. I'm not going to do that anymore. But maybe I'll just leave that up there just for fun. It's the little dot. But let's think about this, big move up here, and then we see this pullback. Where could this be going to the upside? One way of getting an idea of that is going to be a Fibonacci extension. So going from the low here from April 8th up to the high that was hit on May 16th, and then pulling back to the low that followed on May 22nd, that being the lowest low following that move. And then just taking a step back from that, we do have, what's this thing? I drew that? 563. Yeah, I think I drew that. Anyways, 100% move is 525. And so that, if you're curious, if you're not familiar with Fibonacci extensions, a 100% move, it's basically the distance from here to the top side, and then move that over to where it pulled back to, and then that's how you get that 100% extension. It's just the same distance taken from that low. And so I'm just going to remove that. And I'm actually going to add some more levels to this. I'm actually going to make it light blue because it's such a soothing color. But I'm going to add some more levels to this. So let's see the 1618, that's around 615. So that kind of makes sense with where it's currently at in the overnight at 608. Could be getting into some resistance there. If it does go higher, the 2618 is going to be up here at around 760. But realistically, I feel like we could be seeing, yeah, I think 615 seems like a pretty notable level. You see where the cursor is. I mean, I can just draw a line, just a very casual here, going across. Just really thinking about the highs here from like August 21st. But we see, let's just do, super thick line. I just might make it a little transparent there. And so we can see from that line, did I make it as thick as possible? Yeah. Okay, so we can see multiple wicks up to that level, multiple attempts to break above that level. And with that, we saw a big spike in volume, but then pulled back, big spike in volume, but not as high. And then, volume just continued to diminish as it broke down. It looked like there was a head and shoulders pattern here, broke down. Didn't get a measured move, would have been lower, but, still did. And then, so that coming across here is that 1618. So around 615, I think that seems like a good level to me. I don't have an order placed, but that's above 20% share price for me. And so I feel like that's reasonable. And, considering, what was the average price, like, let's see what let's pull up some moving averages. Why don't I have them over here? What's this? Maybe I'm just going to pull up my stonks list and go to QuantumScape. I thought I usually had, it's so weird. I thought I had, so I'm just going to go back to the contracts then. So, yeah, let's come over here to moving averages. And so blowing past all of them. So the orangish pink one is the 21-day moving average. The yellow one is the 50-day moving average. And then the 200 is the blue line up here. And that is, this gap over here. It looks like that's at 583 above that. So not too concerned about that. We did fill that gap, but I think that, this is kind of my view. This is kind of my view of what could be happening. I'll draw like multiple scenarios. So one of them, this is going to be like the most bullish scenario. So let's say we gap up to 6 plus now 625, 44% up in the overnight. That's pretty crazy. So that's above this level here. Crap. Whew. To be honest, I don't know. I have no idea. So yeah, I mean, congrats if you're holding it. I think it's good to take some risk off the table. That's what I plan on doing. I plan on completely exiting, to be honest. Am I going to miss out on some gains? Probably, but I'm going to miss out on some risk. So if it gaps up and then maybe pulls back, then maybe it could be bumping up to here. And then that is when it could come down to maybe around that 200-day moving average. So that's a possibility. But I would say this is like the greenest scenario, the best case scenario. Right there, gap up, pull back. Maybe it pulls back more, then continues up, but then maybe they raise capital, and then this comes down. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I have no idea. But I think that 200-day moving average, which is currently around 486, maybe right around $5, whole dollar number, $5 bill. I think that could be happening. So I'm not trying to get too ahead of myself, but I want to wait for market to open. But yeah, I mean, this is insane. Like, I want to wait till market opens before I make any, decisions about, look at this. It's getting caught by, this is the 21, 210 minute, whatever that means, moving average here. So just 21 times 10 minutes, because that's the increments that we're looking at as far as the candles go. So that's what this moving average is. But yeah, got caught by that, bouncing. The high, like I said, though, was 650 in the overnight. I think that this could be really going higher. I think that contract could be hitting What is going on? I thought I had drawings over here. Oh, because this is a 10-minute. Oh my gosh. There we go. Yeah, 64 cents. I think that will likely get filled. Then I'm taking risk off the table. Got some runners to try to get a 3x. If I get a 3x, great. That means that price is going up above 93 cents. That's great. But then there could be, like a rug pull, raising a capital. I don't know, 60% likelihood as far as Grok is concerned. So, other scenarios, I don't really know. I just think that with it being up at 621, or maybe, another scenario is maybe it opens right around 6, let's say, then pulls back and then goes up, but then maybe gets rejected from there and then starts to come down. So that would be kind of like a medium or, like yellow scenario. Another possibility. And, but yeah, I think that this could be coming down to around $5 if they are to raise some capital. Not trying to be bearish. I really don't like being called bearish or a bear because I'm just trying to manage risk. And if one is managing risk, you're trading responsibly. If one is not managing risk, you're too risky. It's risky business. And so, I'm really excited about this. I don't know exactly what to do other than taking profits. And if this continues to moon, I've taken 20% profits at least on my shares. So I'm happy about that. And I'll potentially be doing a 2 to 3x on my contract, which again is the $10 January 16th call option, $10 strike, January 16th, 2026 expiration. And maybe what I want to do just to end this video in case you guys are interested is pull up the contract lookup here from Unusual Whales. So for this contract, nothing too crazy. It looks like there's some volume, but it's not really a popular contract. Looking at the data over here, this is the net call and put premium. If you look at the bear and bull slider just above me, 58% neutral, so split bearish, bullish, but it looks like more bullish as far as there being more green there. But this looks like, the red is the drawdown of net put premium. And so that would suggest selling. We also see a red volume here, which suggests selling. The drawdown in net premium suggests selling. And that is down. Net put premium came down over the course of the day on Tuesday, June 24th, came down by about $64,000. Not a lot of money. Net call premium also came down, but only by $9,000. That is the green line over there. If we look back the past 3 days, just to kind of get some comparisons, nothing really stands out too much. This is a low of net call premium coming down by about $89,000. Net call premium over here going up by about $53,000. So it's really, small fish, nothing too big, nothing too crazy. Calls over here, that's net call premium increase of about $100,000. So, really not a lot of money, but that's $100,000. So that's not nothing, but millions. It's a $4, $5, $6 stock. And yep, this is the chart over the past 30 trading days. I believe that this would be the stock price in yellow. And so you see that when stock price goes up, net call premium goes up, and then stock price comes down and call premium comes down. So very risky to be trading contracts, very risky to be trading such volatility like the volatility that we are currently seeing in QuantumScape, ticker symbol QS, having closed on the day, June 24th, at a price of $4.33, up 2.12% on the day. But in the overnight trading currently, the stock price is at $6.20, up more than 43% in the overnight trading. We'll have to see where it's at in the pre-market. We'll have to see where it's at when the market opens. But unfortunately, I'm going to be at work then. And hopefully I'll be taking that coffee break. But yeah, I mean, I have no idea. Congrats. I do think that it is very important to consider the 60% likelihood that QuantumScape will be raising capital following a 30% gap up tomorrow. Grok said it, I read it, and that is that. But as always, those are just my thoughts. If you found them helpful, make sure you like the video, share your thoughts in the comments down below, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thanks a lot for watching, and good luck trading tomorrow on Hump Day. Take care, you guys.